with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Garrison Financial Friday morning, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along next hour. You know, this is kind of, is it possible the NFL draft is better than Christmas? Because this ought to be like December 26th, except for there's still 2 more days of the draft.
There's still more presents under the tree.
There's still 2 more days, baby.
Halfway between celebrating Hanukkah and
Yeah, it's good stuff. You know, you think, all right, open up the first round presents just like Christmas. Wait a minute. And as the experts say, the first round is the flash. But this is where the real team is made the next 2 days. Yeah, whatever. I won't give you the flash. Anyhow, we'll talk NFL draft a whole bunch today. Got some high school results from yesterday's slow pitch, softball regionals, baseball by district, tons of stuff. And, of course, it is a Garrison Financial Friday, and that means Scott is in here with us. So let's get right to it. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line, 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things. Whatever else might be on your mind, feel free to chime in at 225-9698. Tell us what you thought about your team's draft. Who did you like? Who did you not like? I know I've got a team that I'm really getting frustrated with because they're doing so well in my mind. I'm really getting frustrated with one team that's just like, come on, guys. Why don't you mess one up a little bit here so that maybe the Cowboys can have a chance. Anyhow. Big Elk TV, Paragon TV, and the app. It was fun yesterday. Jared and I out at Ackley Park watching the Elks destroy Dixon for a by-district championship. We'll be back out there next week with regionals.
It was boring.
I was there for about 30 minutes, and I was like, yeah, I can go now.
Yeah, this is over.
Yes, it was fun. It's fun to be on the winning side, but let's face it, games like that,
I don't know if there was ever really if the result was ever really in doubt in either one of those games.
No.
Let's see. Skinny on Sports Podcast. If you missed the show entirely, you can find us anywhere podcasts drop. You heard the voice of Jared Aitha. You've heard from Scott Garrison. Scotty G, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a Steeler man. My Steelers they're killing it. I love what they're doing.
Yeah, you just got to hope Mini Hands is a good quarterback.
Mini Hands.
And that wasn't that the knock on him? The miniature hands from last year.
He can play. He can play. He showed some pretty bright spots, and let's be honest, he didn't have any time to show them either.
No, he was decent. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Steelers. We were talking off the air. Outside of really the Lions, I thought for the rest of the first, it was the most sane first round I've ever seen from a pick perspective. Al Davis always would fire one in there that you just went, what? And start laughing.
Yeah.
The Lions were the only ones.
Yeah.
You know, when the whoever was making the pick, the guys would talk, and inevitably that one of those names would pop up. And a lot of times the guy they thought it would be. The Lions, not so much. No. They never even mentioned either guy they picked. But who knows? I mean, it seems crazy to draft. I mean, I thought we were at 1996 there for just a second when 2 running backs came off the board in the top 12. It's like, whoa, yeah. Was I transported back? Am I in Scott's barbershop watching this? What is going on here? But what were your thoughts? And obviously, the Steelers looked like they made a pick that fills a huge need that they've got.
Yeah, that kid, he looks like he's in like 9th grade and still has a growth spurt to come. I mean, he's either overweight and needs to get in shape, or he's still got a lot of growing up to do. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. But Yeah, I loved what the Steelers did. I love their position today. Like we talked about off the air, I think Anthony Richardson was a terrible pick at 4th for the Colts. That guy's, yeah, like we said, he's a freak. He's an animal, but I don't see him wanting to wait to start. I don't see him. And so if he's not ready, the other players on the team are going to know he's not ready immediately, and then the headaches will begin. So,
any shock with Houston trading up to get the 3rd pick, and all of a sudden they're getting back-to-back picks at 2 and 3? I mean, I sent what do you call them, gifts? Like, we're putting all the chips towards the center of the table here.
Yeah.
Like, they're all in. Like, it
Yeah.
answered our questions early of what they intend to do for this upcoming season, and it looks like they intend to win.
Yeah.
Or try to.
Yeah, and to be honest, they got the 2 most NFL-ready players, probably, you could say.
Maybe so, yeah.
The most, the most ready to play now. I don't know if the breezy kid from Clemson that went to the Saints could end up being the steal of the draft, in my opinion. I mean, it had a ton of injuries and things while he was at Clemson. But if he lives up to the potential that he has, I think he could end up being the steal of the draft. I don't hear either one of you guys talking about your Cowboys.
It's funny because on the text line, Dakota said, I wish y'all could have seen Drew's soul leave his body when the Bills jumped up ahead of him and took Kincaid. I mean, there was one word in the group text that we're in together.
We can't.
There was only one word that was said as soon as that pick was made, and it wasn't a nice one. It was not a nice one. I mean, here's the deal. I hate. You know what it feels like, and maybe they don't. Maybe they had this guy higher than what a lot of people did on their board. But it felt like a need pick, and Dallas never picks for need. They always take the best available. So maybe he was, I don't know, like I text them. I may just have Taco Charlton PTSD with defensive lineman from Michigan. When, what was it, J.J. Watt went like 2 picks later. Yeah. You know, oh, there's a miss. And maybe it's Breezy. Where, all right, Maisie Smith, yeah, I saw this video where he's jumping up the stairs faster than Aiden Hutchinson or something on a workout. Oh, yeah, that's great. What about Breezy? He's over being an all-pro and a Hall of Famer 2 picks later. So I think it was the Michigan connection. But like I told them, I wasn't overly fired up last year with the guys that they could have picked, and then they picked Tyler Smith. That turns out that's a good pick. I mean, he's going to be – and it probably is a little bit hypocritical for me as a Cowboys fan when they seem to be doing exactly what I will praise the Eagles for doing, and that is building from the front back. Yeah. And I mean, the Eagles, come on. It's like, for a long time your Steelers, dude, it did not seem like there for about a decade after they draft Ben. And then it always seemed like the 2 teams in front of them would do something so stupid. And then the guy the Steelers weren't going to trade up because they're like, we can pick somebody else. And then the 2 teams in front of them would do the dumbest thing of all time. And they would that's what it felt like for the Eagles last night. It's like, Chicago, Jalen Carter is a monster of the Midway, bro. Yeah. Just take him. Yeah. And then they traded 1 spot back so that the Eagles could take Jalen Carter. Yeah. And then if it's not Breezy, another guy that was injured right now, but man, Nolan Smith, when you see his measurables and the stuff that his wow plays, it's like, holy cow.
Absolutely.
Eagles.
Jalen Carter is the most wow. I mean,
and here, gosh. We talked about this yesterday, Jared. I really thought, who could be the biggest bust? Mm-hmm. I actually thought it could be him, depending on where he went. Yeah. I made the joke when it was Vegas.
I never thought that.
When it was Vegas, really? You think he's going to succeed in Vegas?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I never thought about location as part of the equation of being a bust, but I can totally see that. Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, if he was in Vegas, that ain't good. Henry Ruggs, too. I mean, maybe not that, but you know what I'm saying.
Hopefully not that, yeah.
But that's just an obvious, this ain't where he needs to go. Mm-hmm. And then the Eagles trade up and you go, oh, my God, they're going to take Jalen Carter. He's going to be with all those Georgia dudes. This is the best. I mean, as far as him,
loaded.
it's got to be the best place he could have gone, right?
Yeah, just absolutely loaded.
Now,
We'll see.
as a Dallas fan, I hope he is a bust, right? That was my first reaction when they took him. I was like, oh, good. He'll be a bust for the Eagles.
I don't think so.
But the Eagles are so well ran. I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I think that was a slam dunk. I don't know. Who else was I looking at that I thought was just not wise in any way, shape, or form? I can't remember who it was.
You mentioned Detroit.
Detroit.
But
They'll
I'm with you,
always
Aaron. It
be
felt like
Detroit.
it just all went to chalk. It's like it wasn't splashy. Other than the Houston thing early, I thought this might be a night where we're going to get a lot of movement of trades and big grabs.
It was
Maybe
weird.
Atlanta. I mean, listen, I'm not calling Robinson. I mean, we've praised his accolades in hoping that he would drop far enough for the Cowboys, but to be taken so high, is that dumb on Atlanta's part?
Yes. Is it? I mean, you don't even have to say is it. It's dumb. You don't take a running back in the top 10. I mean, when was the last? You could say it worked out for Dallas for a few years.
For a few, yeah.
For a
well,
few years.
here's the
Until
thing
you
about
had to pay him.
here, but I think we've got to start looking at it in that light right there,
That's true.
because the shelf life is 3 years anyway, on
That's
average,
true.
of these running backs. Now, I realize an 8th pick is a bunch to give, but let me ask you this. If every 8th pick had a great 5-year career, wouldn't you consider that hell of a good drafting?
Yeah, you
By
would.
whoever, just because
Regardless
the
of
shelf, regardless
position.
of whatever the position is. So maybe we need it now. Atlanta's not in this boat. It doesn't seem like right now as maybe the Eagles would have been, or the Bills or the Ravens or whoever is kind of tied to him a little bit. Of okay, let's get all we can out of his first contract, and then don't care if he moves on because we're drafting him to help us win right now. He fills that good player, great player, maybe for not much money in this first segment of his
Well,
career.
the thing that I thought was the dumbest part about it was the same reason why I criticized my Steelers a couple of years ago for Najee. The line's not in front of him yet.
That's very true.
Why would you draft a running back when you don't have the line yet? And you've seen Najee getting just obliterated. That kid, you talk about having a shelf life. If he can make it through the next 2 years, it will be pretty impressive. So that's the one thing that I thought was here was a big mind blower for me. Who on earth is drafting for the Washington Commanders?
The Skins.
Excuse me.
You can say we say Skins around
No, I
here,
know.
Scott. Don't worry
Yeah.
about that. I don't even remember. Oh, they took the
They took
the skinny
took
little
a need.
dude.
They took a need though. That's not.
You know when they picked, you heard that giant sound of air rushing out of the balloon. That's when it came from Will Levis, because he was going, "All right, Redskins need a quarterback."
Was that coming out of Will Levis? Or if you were Will Levis, would you be like, "Oh, thank God the Redskins didn't pick
Well,
me"?
that's very true too. Although new ownership, I really thought they might make a big old splash in this draft. Maybe it's not all quite settled in there yet to where they didn't feel necessary. The one thing I will say about Will Levis, I hope that wasn't his mom and his 2 sisters, because that would be even a bigger disappointment for him. They never really said.
And one was a girlfriend.
Was it?
One of them was a girlfriend, but the girlfriend wasn't sitting next to him.
She was in red or something. Just some tweets I saw.
I'm going to assume that the 2 blondes was his mom and his sister.
Yeah, they looked alike.
And they were sitting next to him, and the girlfriend was off to the side. She kept trying to.
Well, she was
Calm him down.
She kept trying to
or that
get
or
into the camera and. Well, she's
yeah.
got to get her Instagram pics in
well,
there.
either that or grab the hand of one of the guys that actually got picked.
Oh dear.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Maybe she was trying to help her push off of Will's shoulder to get out of there.
Oh, that is bad.
Question: I just joined. What do you think of Dallas's pick?
Well,
we'll see.
We just said it's kind of what I said yesterday. They have hit more than missed lately with their picks, and I was kind of warning myself and warning our Dallas listeners that it might not be a splashy pick, but have faith in it, and that's what I was kind of telling myself, and that's kind of how I took it. I was that Curb Your Enthusiasm meme. where Larry Dave's like, well, okay.
Where did I just see that?
But it did address a need that we failed to even really talk about was run defense. We always talked about the offensive needs. We weren't really talking about the defensive needs. We're so infatuated with the secondary being okay, but the run defense was a problem last year. So
huge problem.
Yeah, I'm glad that was addressed. I mean, in hindsight, now that's a really good pick if you're addressing that need.
Well, here's the thing.
But the question was, what was a bigger need? I never really thought about, but that was a big problem last year.
You have to. The problem with what Philly is doing, you have to keep up with it, or they'll just run you over in your own division, offensively and defensively. And so they're almost forcing the teams in their division's hand in a lot of ways to bolster up on the lines because of what they're doing.
So we haven't even touched on it yet. What do you think about what the Ravens are doing?
That was one of those things I was wondering who would maybe trade for him, and now here Lamar's there. Well, here's the thing. Todd Monken obviously believes in Lamar, at least whatever he's seen of him or whatever tape he's watched, because that's something that's kind of underrated here. Well, they paid him, and they also changed offensive coordinators, which in my mind signals a change in a little bit of the philosophy that they've been doing. Greg Roman had him as the leading rushing team for the last couple of years in the league. Where'd that get him?
Yeah. Without a running back.
Yeah, with a little frail one that also threw it. I'm surprised that they gave in, but I will say this, and I hammered Lamar for being his own agent, and it's dragging on too long. But kudos to him. 260, third most of all time as far as the guarantees at 180, 4 or 5,
I think so.
Something like that.
Over under on how long OBJ waits before he starts complaining about catches.
Has he?
Yeah. I think it's already.
Is he? He's already mad at Zay Flowers, and Zay Flowers hasn't even got there yet.
Oh, that's.
I may need to save this for something different, but in all honesty, I mean, we were talking about ESPN and how they would show all the periphery of it instead of just the meat and potatoes of the draft, which there's a lot of cool stories and all that. But there's another thing that they put out immediately, as soon as Anthony Richardson was picked. And they're the only ones that still have this narrative going, because I don't think any of us here even notice. But you know what their tweet was? Three of the top 4 picks in the NFL draft were black quarterbacks. Who even that term isn't even used anymore?
Cares?
It's just a quarterback. Nobody cares. This isn't 19. They thought it was 1996 too, when the 12th pick was the second running back, and so they went back to old preconceived notions.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, come on, ESPN. Come on.
Yeah.
Get past.
Just
no
keep
one
pushing the narrative.
There's literally no one that says that term
Nobody
anymore.
cares. Nobody
except
cares.
for them. Except for ESPN.
But I will say this. I mean, I understand he's incredibly intelligent. I understand he played in the SEC. There is no way that Bryce Young will be able to survive as a quarterback in the National Football League, especially going to the Panthers now, unless he just doesn't play for the first 2 years. He'll never make it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little guy.
Who has? He is – you talk about a rail. I mean, most of our kids on our high school team this year were bigger than him.
Yeah, I heard them talking about as we were headed home on the radio, the draft coverage on the radio. And I think it was Mel, after they picked him, he had like his little 1-minute synopsis of what it was or whatever, what he did. And he said that the 204 at the combine was manufactured, meaning his weight, because he plays at like 185.
He had lost. Well, they said that he did gain it. I was
gained it
to
just literally to get measured.
It for the combine, and then at the pro day, he'd already lost 10 pounds of it.
Yeah, I guess he plays.
He can't hold it.
He plays at like 185.
Yeah,
that's where he's going to play.
Weight.
The one thing I would say to play devil's advocate, because I think that's his only question mark. I think the rest of what Bryce Young is awesome if he can be out there. The one thing I would say, he was able to use his feet in college certain times to gain yardage, but I look at him more of a Mahomes type. If it's necessary in the the last drive,
6'4".
he's bigger though, but he doesn't. But Bryce Young isn't going to run like Lamar Jackson.
No,
and so therefore, did you ever see Bryce Young take a shot in college?
Not very often.
He didn't, because he wasn't trying to gain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the one thing in his advantage. He can move, but he's pretty good at making business decisions as well. Get down and get out of the way.
Yeah.
Problem is,
Kyler's pretty good at getting down and getting out of the way too.
And
Kyler
much-
hasn't
He
made
was.
it through a single NFL season yet. And Kyler's bigger than him.
yeah. The problem is though, Kyler runs to get yards. They
There
run
are
him on
plays-
purpose.
Yeah, there are plays designed
There
for
are
that for
plays
Kyler.
that-
I don't think you're going to see Bryce Young have
No.
any quarterback run game designed.
unless for a
But I agree 100%. That's why I would have taken C.J. Stroud first overall, because I think he's.
Yeah.
I think he
And that was
doesn't
my
have
con-
those same
yeah, that was
problems.
my main concern too, was the size and all that. But I did, he did a lot of things with his feet that last season at Alabama, but it wasn't by design; it was out of necessity. And he did get down, or
How
he
about
used
this?
his feet
Hey,
to make
how
the
about
pass.
this? How about this? I'll play the devil's advocate here. If Bryce Young was a white quarterback, would he have gone number 1 overall?
Yeah, Baker Mayfield did.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I think it all was his intangibles and the way. I think this season, in a lot of ways, was bigger for Bryce Young than winning the Heisman last year, because he literally, it felt like he had Alabama on his back. And you look at what happened. They lost on a kick
Yeah.
at Tennessee, and they lost in overtime when LSU, by the way, his team scored a touchdown like it's supposed to in overtime. LSU just got the ball second and went for 2. I think that showed people a lot of that gamer aspect of what he is. But here's the deal. You can be a gamer all you want, but you're right. If you're not out there, you can't be a
If you're
gamer.
not on the field, you're not a gamer.
If you're in the training room, you're not gaming.
When you have
Well, you might be gaming. You and Kyler might be sitting there together gaming.
when you have 275-pound, 300-pound defensive linemen that are running a 4.6 40.
Yeah, how about Nolan Smith?
Yeah.
What's he weigh? Like 280, and he's running a 4.3 something?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, who was it from Georgia last year ran a 4?
It was the massive guy.
Yeah,
Davis, Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
He ran like a 4.8 something at 350.
Yeah. No, he was closer to 400 pounds. He was close to 400 pounds. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't see how somebody can hold up.
Yeah, here you go. 2 is the gamer too. How's that working out for him? It's a good point.
There you go.
It's a very, very, very good point.
Yes,
so
it is.
if I had to say, all right, Scott, who was your winner last night? Who would it be?
I mean, I'm really happy with my Steelers and what they did. I mean, it's boring. You can say it's boring, but when you have to have an offensive tackle, you have to have an offensive tackle. But I would say, yeah, we have to wait and see. The Eagles.
It's got to be
The
right.
Eagles.
I think so too. Eagles or Houston.
Yeah. I don't know if – I think Houston's really excited and happy with what they did. I don't know if either one of those will end up being elite.
Right.
I think they're both ready to step into the league. I don't know if either one of them – I don't know if we'll be talking about C.J. Stroud the way that we talk about top 3 quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we might be talking about him 9th, 10th, 11th. And then Anderson, I don't know. There were some times last year, do you remember the Texas game? Anderson jumped off sides like 4 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
There were some times that he just didn't seem to have his brain.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, he makes the play of the game. You know, it was just
That's true. That's true.
But he didn't. I thought he might win the Heisman last year, coming off the year before, and it didn't seem. Even though he still led the SEC in sacks, it didn't seem like. And maybe that just comes with the expectation going in. It's why a Heisman Trophy winner coming back has only won once,
That's true.
because the expectations are so off the charts that any little thing you start noticing more. Instead of, my God, that 31 is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look at that, he jumped off sides, or did he quit on that play? You know, it's
That's true.
It's weird to be able to watch
Yeah,
a play
the
by play.
magnifying glass is on you.
No doubt about it. So Steelers, do they pick 32nd, or do they
No,
do
they're
something
trading
different?
down. They'll trade down. There's too many corners. The needs that they still have to fill. There's the players are out there. they want Joey Porter Jr., but Cam Smith, and then what's the sophomore from Georgia? I can't think of his name. I mean, there's a lot of corners that are out there waiting.
Oh, yeah. Ringo.
Yeah.
Keely Ringo. So, the redshirt sophomore, yep.
So I think they'll definitely trade down and yeah, we're just building. Hey, we'll be honest. We're not ready to play with the Bengals. We're not ready to play with the Ravens, but we'll just build and
see what happens.
Yep.
As long as your quarterback can just keep the football in his hand, I think he'll be all right.
He'll be all right.
All right, Scott, what's going on? What's going on down at Garrison Financial?
Oh, we're just working with people, helping people navigate this crazy market and this crazy economy, and preparing people for what we see coming on in the future, and we're trying to position ourselves to best get through the next decade. So if you want to talk about your investments, if you want to talk about maybe putting some money on the sidelines, if you want to talk about some life insurance, if you want to talk about some other needs, come on down. Let's sit down. Let's take a look at what you got, and let's make a game plan.
124.
So that we're not the Lions and we're not drafting.
Almost didn't make it. 124 North Main, Scott at SoonerWealth.com.
That's it, guys.
All right,
you
thanks,
guys have
man.
a great day.
Yep, you too. That's Scott Garrison on a Garrison Financial Friday. We'll tell you all about what he's doing down there throughout the show. When we come back, Jared and I will continue to rehash the draft. We've got some high school, regional, by-district, softball, baseball, results, maybe what's going on today if the rain stays away. Plenty more show left on a Garrison Financial Friday.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@SoonerWealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
Hey! Is this heaven? No.
It's the Skinny on Sports.
It is like heaven. It's like heaven in here on a Garrison Financial Friday. Just heard from Scott. You can do it all, man. Full financial planning. Shop the open market to bring you the best value on your life insurance and your investments. Can set you up a plan if you want to manage it. You know, he can manage your stuff. But if you're one of those people, you want to manage your stuff, but you're not sure how to get going, he can charge you by the hour to set it up, and then you can go and watch and
he's like your general manager.
Yeah.
Right?
Be like your contractor. Set it up, and then you can go make the decision. It's good stuff. Scott at SoonerWealth.com is his email. 124 North Main is his locale there in the office. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's finish up the NBA draft. Or NFL draft.
Are we already previewing the NBA draft?
Yeah. Here's one for you, kids. Victor Wembanyama is going to go number 1.
Yeah.
That's what I know about the NBA draft so far.
I love like last week I got a breaking news. Dun, dun, dun.
He entered the draft.
He enters the draft. He declared for the draft. Oh, yeah, that's real breaking news. Everybody saw that one coming.
It is good to see that Drew's still with us on the text line.
Hey, Drew.
I have a feeling that his face turned completely white when the news of the trade happened.
It'll be fine.
Buffalo ahead of Dallas. And I thought, okay, I started racking my brain. Tight end. Dawson Knox. They've got Dawson Knox. But you kind of knew what was coming, right?
Think so.
Like, oh, no.
It'll be fine.
Question was, do you think the Cowboys would have drafted Dalton Kincaid if he was available? I think yes.
I do too. I think
the answer to that's yes.
There was a priority list, and he was towards the top. Priority list mixed with needs, like we talked about.
Yeah, ask Dakota. When Buffalo jumped us, I knew Kincaid was gone. Yeah, Dakota's the one that alerted us that the life went out of your soul. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that's who they wanted. It clearly wasn't Michael Mayer because guess what? They could have drafted him.
They could have had him.
I think Kincaid was the guy that they had targeted all along, and when he wasn't there, they pivoted to, okay, what's next? And that was Smith and stopping the run, which that's a huge concern. There's no doubt. It's just not quite as flashy.
It's not as flashy, but I appreciate Jerry's willingness to know a concern when he sees one, when everybody sees it. So, smart move.
Who do you think had the best night?
I wrote this down. Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but Philly looked pretty dang good. Speaking of smart, they continue to make those smart picks. And then Houston you got two of the top three guys in the entire draft. I mean, they're clearly going all in, and they're wanting the win now. They don't like the idea of losing for another year. So I would say in that order, Philly and then Houston. Philly took advantage of being where they're at in the draft, and they got some key players. So the rich get richer over there for Philly.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that Philly did. If you just if you view it purely from a value standpoint, where most teams had the two guys that they picked in their overall draft order, on their big board, Philly got gigantic value. Except for the couple of teams apparently that didn't even have Jalen Carter on the board, which to me is so crazy, but whatever. It is what it is. Commanders, I don't get it. They took a skinny little corner from Mississippi State. This question on the text line. He makes plays. You talked about his coverage skills and the way that he could do it. But, man, in that division with Lamb, with A.J. Brown, more physical receivers, how's he going to hold up at 164 pounds, I think they said?
When the draft's announced and then they break it down, this is who he is, where he's from, what he can do, what he's best at, what he needs to work on, all that. First thing that stood out was obviously the size. And the second thing that stood out to me was it appeared to me that all he relies on is interceptions. Not just the timing passes, jumping routes, stuff like that. But the physical thing does concern you. I mean, he could be bumped off the line and go right down to his backside, and
especially when you
be
had
out of position
at that pick. You also had Christian Gonzalez and you had Deontay Banks, which. At least the channel I was watching, I thought it was pretty clear that, Louis Riddick, I think he does a really good job. And, I think he was clearly in favor of those other two over the pick that they made, And I think size and physicality was a big part of that. I liked what Seattle did. Getting the corner they took from Illinois, when you saw his highlight reel, it was totally different than Forbes from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
He was up in the mix, making plays around the line of scrimmage, but also really good in coverage. Witherspoon from Illinois. And then as Jackson Smith and Jigba, as it got closer and closer to 26, I was sure hoping.
That he would be there?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
I was kind of hoping Addison would be there, but he went to Minnesota at 24. I thought both those names, too. I was thinking one of those guys could fall down, and of course Kincaid. But I mean, you like what they did though, Seattle?
Oh heck yes, yeah. I was afraid that they were going to pull the trigger on a quarterback. I still am not convinced they wouldn't have at 5 if the Colts wouldn't have taken Richardson. I don't think they wanted any part of Will Levis at 5, but I think they might have wanted Anthony Richardson at 5, or maybe that could have been a spot for a trade back, a couple of picks, where you were comfortable that he would still be. As good as Geno was, I don't think anybody in Seattle thinks Geno's the next 5 to 8 year solution for me. I just don't. Maybe I'm discrediting Gino a little bit too much, but once Richardson was gone there, I think they had to pivot and take different guys. The quarterback was out of their brain in the first round.
Let me ask you this: do you think Seattle, was it proven to us that it's Pete Carroll's system and it wasn't Russell Wilson, with the way how much success Geno Smith had this past season? It was kind of a vindication. Like, they're like, look, this is how we work it here. This is my system, and I could plug a guy in here. So maybe they felt like we don't have to draft a guy. We don't have to draft Levis at 5. We can get somebody on the cheap or keep Geno here and still run this successful offense.
Maybe so. I think they've always been more of a run first.
Yeah,
since they've been good.
Oh yeah,
and Wilson was probably better than maybe even they thought he could be when they drafted him.
Carroll's offense, even at USC, he had guys like Reggie Bush and others, but namely Reggie Bush, that ran that offense that really made their quarterbacks real successful. But yeah, I just wonder if that, like, we don't need to use a 5 pick on a quarterback.
Yeah, not on Will Levis.
No.
Now,
which begs the question.
On Anthony Richardson, maybe so, but not on Will Levis. And yeah, where I was actually pretty surprised that it was Levis that dropped like a rock instead of Richardson. But I think the intrigue of the athleticism.
Yeah, the athleticism.
It's just
won out there.
It did.
Yeah.
It just absolutely won out. And one of the 3 or 4 or 5 times that Mel got fed up with picks and was mad that Levis wasn't taken because it was making him look bad for having him as his second quarterback overall. He made a great point though in that there were some guys on the panel criticizing a player or whatever. Well, he goes, it was at Kentucky.
Yeah.
You guys, yeah, okay. CJ and Bryce, they're making these plays at Ohio State and Alabama. The student's doing it at Kentucky. I think that's a good point in the grand scheme of things.
It is a good point.
Even though his frustration mounting, but I mean,
and there's
I'm a little surprised.
Well, I'm surprised about Richardson going. What did they say? He's only started or played in 13 games.
Yeah,
such a small sample size in the grand scheme of things, too.
It is,
and that's why I was a little shocked he went so high. But I guess the athleticism, that is pro day and all that stuff, it wowed enough people. Especially the guys at Indianapolis.
See here, Drew, inconsistent play at Kentucky is a big problem. See, I think that is so – he was a dude at Kentucky. Hello?
Yeah, he was a dude who went up against other dudes.
He's a dude that did things at Kentucky that have never been done.
It's true.
From a team standpoint.
In the toughest conference in the country, going up against the Tennessees and the Alabamas and those LSUs year in and year out, Florida, and having success.
Yeah.
Consistent or not, is he the all-time winningest quarterback at Kentucky?
Oh, my God, surely.
Have to be. I think the pro set is there. I think the skill set to be a pro is there. The athleticism, though, I think. Now, someone's going to get him, and maybe that's why he fell. Like, I want this guy to be my backup eventually to mold him in. And I have a theory where I think he could go today.
I'm surprised he didn't get the Josh Allen bump. Meaning, Josh Allen had a lot of the same question marks. Cannon, inconsistent, inaccurate, can move. And then he turned out to be Josh Allen. Now, I'm not saying Will Levis has that, but I'm just surprised that somebody didn't. But maybe that's why Richardson got taken where he did. He got the Josh Allen bump. Even though he was at Florida. That's where I would say Kentucky and Wyoming. I mean, Kentucky's a better program, but they're still,
So that's why
they're
always
challenged.
Had a pause for Josh Allen because
he
played at Wyoming.
Yeah.
Was it the Mountain West then? Is it now? I don't remember.
Something. One of those.
I mean, he went up against Colorado State. Did they play Boise? I don't know. But it wasn't the conference, wasn't the league like the SEC is. So I'm a little shocked Levis has dropped. But I think he'll find a home, and I think he'll find a good home because I think there are some smart franchises that want him, not to be their QB1, but to
Oh, I think there's no
Get him
doubt
ready.
where he's going today.
You think it's the Rams?
Absolutely. No doubt. Unless
That'd
somebody
be
else
that-
jumps up, because when you look at the order today, I think they got the 5th pick of the second round. There's nobody there.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yep.
There's nobody there that needs a quarterback anymore.
No.
So it'll take somebody to jump them in order to get there. And if they just stand pat, I mean that seems like a pretty safe bet for a second rounder, unless there's just somebody that fell out of the first that the Rams had way high on their board. You never know. I mean, it's a lot easier to be able to move 10 or 12 spots in the second round, obviously, than it is in the first.
Yeah.
For what you got to give up, but it seems like a pretty good match there, at least on the periphery, depending on what the Rams' big board looks like.
You got to hope the Rams, for Levis's sake, you got to hope the coach is still there. That still wants to be there.
No doubt.
Throughout his development process.
No doubt.
Stafford. The question about Stafford is is that injury still lingering?
Yeah, and how much will can he play?
Can he play long enough to let Levis develop in this system at the pro level, where he can take over the job, a la Rodgers taking over for Favre?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for where he is now, that's about a perfect world, as long as McVay's still there.
Yeah.
That changes if McVay exits with Rodgers.
That-
But there's always who waiting in the wings.
Right there, wouldn't have. Yes.
Problem is, somebody will probably have to cut his arms off of Caleb Williams' coattails headed to the NFL next year.
He's gonna. Yeah.
What are you looking forward to? Actually, let's see. How did you feel about Dallas's pick?
Well, like I said earlier, it wasn't me jumping out of my chair for joy, but it wasn't me sulking because I thought it was a bad pick. It was exactly what I thought it could be yesterday. This is a safe pick. They've hit on picks more than they've missed in the past decade or so. So I was comfortable with it. Was my reaction. How about you?
I was afraid it was going to be the guard from even less sexy, the guard Avila from TCU. So this, it's need, and maybe we, drafting toward the end of the first round, need is. If Drew's right though, he says that they had him 14th on their big board, then that means he probably was the best player available on their board. So they still, then they did kill two birds with one stone by drafting a need and also getting the best player available. If that's correct, and he follows it closer than anybody that I know of with what people say down in Dallas, then that serves both purposes. And a lot of times when you look back, the least sexy picks that Dallas has made have been the best ones, and they have to fortify what's going on the lines with what Philly is forcing their hand, man, with what Philadelphia is doing on both sides of the ball and the lines. Who would you take? All right, here's the question. Mayer, Darnell Washington, or Avila, the guard from TCU? If all three are available today, who do you take in the second round?
Mayer.
I'd take Washington.
Now I want to get sexy.
That's why I take Washington. Mayer, I thought
Bringing sexy back.
It was pretty funny to see his film compared to Jason Witten's film, because it felt like in college that Mayer was. So like, how is he getting open? It looks like he's running about a 6-flat 20, but he's wide open, and he's making, how is he doing that? I think a lot of people always thought that about Witten.
Yeah.
And it turned into a Hall of Fame career. But something about Darnell Washington just intrigues you, man. 6'4", 270 from Georgia, tight end. He can block. He can. If it's me, I would rather take him.
I don't think he'll be there.
I don't know that either one of them will be there by the time Dallas gets the pick. But if it's me, actually any of those three may not. But if it's me, I would lean Washington myself. Are you surprised? Who are you surprised either got picked or didn't get picked last night?
I will answer the surprised who got picked with
Anton, because you didn't think OU was going to have a first rounder.
I guess that would be.
Would it be?
That would have to be my answer. I didn't think he'd be a first rounder. You did, so kudos to you.
I even said Jacksonville.
Well, congratulations.
Well, it was an easy deal, Jared. Once Cam Robinson was going to be suspended for PEDs, they got to have somebody to protect Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence.
Yeah. Still a little shocked that 2 running backs went as high as they did in the first round.
Now listen, I said I thought there would be 2 in the first round, but I thought Gibbs was going to like the Bills
right.
or the Bengals.
You didn't think it'd be that high.
Heck no.
No. And RG3, I thought he had a dumb statement after.
No kidding. That's par for the course
The
for that
value
guy.
of the running back is back. No, it's not. Let's see if it is, but I think like you hit a nail on the head. It's get what you can out of this rookie contract and then be done with them.
I think that's where
That's where the value is.
Drew makes a great point when he says if you draft them in the first round,
You better think they're
you get a 5-year contract. You get them for 5. If you draft them in the 4th round, it's 3, and then they can start. It speeds the clock up.
Yeah.
So you can, if you're gonna do it, but not Atlanta, not Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great move for Philly.
Yeah, for immediate success.
Yeah, for the Bills,
Get on a
for the
team
Bengals.
that's winning now, and
That's right.
and that's going to help a team win now, not a development process, and you're going to overpay for them eventually. It's not value.
So do you think the Lions go into game 1 with Gibbs,
Super Bowl
Swift?
aspiration?
No. I'm talking about all 3. And David Montgomery? You got all 3 of those guys there now. Maybe somebody is available.
I'm really curious, going back to the Dallas angle, with that need at running back after waiving Zeke, there needs to be some more depth there. Do they even want to look at drafting a guy?
How about a 6th rounder for DeAndre Swift?
I'd take that all day.
Maybe.
Are they waiting for other running backs to become available?
Yeah, like that right there.
Bring him in during the fall camp. I don't know. Summer camp, whatever.
I bet you they take one eventually.
You think they do? Okay.
Yeah, I bet you they do.
It is one of those needs, but we'll see what the needs priority is as this draft moves through the weekend.
Yeah.
Real quick, who do you think they take today? Dallas.
A tight end.
I think a tight end, but I don't know who.
There's a big part of me that's hoping it's anybody but the guy from South Dakota. We'll be back.
Hello, my name is Scott Garrison. You may remember me as Scott the Barber or just as Ron and Carla's son. I've been involved in our community since opening Scott's Barbershop on the southeast corner of 3rd and Main in 1998. Now I'm back in the same building as Garrison Financial. I started investing in my 20s. I invested through the dot-com crash and the Great Recession. I started caring for other people's money in 2018, and I truly enjoy sitting down with my clients, understanding their wants and needs as well as what keeps them up at night. Whether my friends just want me to invest a little of their savings or want me to work with their tax and legal professionals to strive towards optimal efficiency, we can do it all. I believe communication is key to helping my clients reach their goals. For if we are faithful over a few things, we shall be given more. Contact me at scott@soonerwealth.com. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Garrison Financial and Cambridge are not affiliated. This communication is strictly intended for individuals residing in the states of Colorado, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Texas. No offers may be made or accepted from any resident outside the specific states referenced. Cambridge does not offer tax and legal advice.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back on this Garrison Financial Friday. Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the sports animal. Scott at SoonerWealth.com. 124 North Main is Scott's address. Give him an email. Go by. He can help you with all your financial needs, every bit of it. Hey, you know who had a bad night last night?
Who's that?
Mr. Stars Don't Matter in Recruiting guy.
Oh, yeah.
Bad night for that
I
guy.
saw that tweet. It was like 4
Very
or 5,
bad
4,
night.
4 or 5.
Like-
Who's the guy who was a 0-star who got drafted?
Had to have been Tyree Wilson, right?
I think so.
In the first 10.
Yeah, that's
Bad night for that guy.
yep.
Not good. Now, he'll point to that one and like Zay Flowers, is who he'll point to.
They matter.
30 out of the first 32.
They definitely matter.
It was a tough night. It was a very, very tough night for recruiting Stars Don't Matter guy. All right, let's. It was not a tough day yesterday for a bunch of local softball and baseball teams, Jared.
A lot of success yesterday.
Yeah, there was. There's state tournament teams galore in slow pitch softball. I will tell you. Let's start. I'll just go right up the list. Class B, 2 Western Oklahoma squads will be headed to the state tournament. Arnett is the regional champion. They beat Scheidler 14-4 in Game 1, beat Leedy in the regional title game 14-11. So Arnett goes in as a regional champion. Leedy will be there as well, though. Lady Bison turned around and beat Scheidler 12-2 to be the runner-up. So Arnett and Leedy both in the Class B slow pitch softball state tournament. Hammond Lady Warriors and the Visai Lady Indians will be in the Class A slow pitch state tournament. As Hammond is the regional champ, they beat Kremlin Hillsdale 11-1 and Visai 24-16 to win the regional championship. Visai beat Moss to start, and they beat Moss to be the runner-up, 16-4. So Visai is also into the Class A slow pitch state tournament. Shattuck's there. Lady Indians routed a couple of teams. Ringwood 15-0, Union City 15-7. So Shattuck's headed to the Class 2A state softball tournament, as is Bingeroni. As Lady Bobcats beat Keota 12-0, Arapahoe Butler 7-3. Arapahoe Butler could not bounce back and win for a second time yesterday against Central High of Marlow. They beat them 14-7 game one. They lost 3-2. And so Arapahoe Butler was eliminated. Central Marlow is the runner-up in that regional headed to state. Canute Trojanettes made easy work over here yesterday, 10-0 against OBA, 13-6 against Davenport. So Canute is headed. I think Woodland ended up being the regional runner-up there as they beat Davenport in that final game. Navajo has been eliminated also in 2As. They lost to Sterling twice. So you got Canute, Bingeroni, Shattuck, Visai, Hammond, Arnett, Leedy, all in their various classifications. Slow pitch state tournament next week. You got any report from the Canute? Looked like they just workmanlike effort.
Yeah, I saw Coach Gillette last night, and total congrats. And I was always curious: does it worry you changing field conditions? You go from natural to turf. I said, not really.
By the way, the Illinois corner was the one that wasn't highly ranked. That's right. Okay. It was the 5th pick. That's right. That's exactly right. All right, so let's go to the baseball field. We were at Ackley Park yesterday. The Big Elks cruised to a by-district championship, 16-0 and 11-0 against Dixon. So Elk City into the regional. They'll host the regional next week starting on Thursday. Game times will come up at the first of next week. So the Big Elks will be at home in a 4-team regional next week. Looked like Chickasha won game 1 against Harding. I actually didn't even look. But I'm just sure Lumpy's team will be out here. Sulphur and Mount St. Mary would be the other two. If the seeds hold the way that they went into the by-district, those would be the teams that would be here next week. Elk City would play Mount St. Mary game 1. Chickasha and Sulphur would go at it in game 2. And then, of course, the winners. Let's see. Yep, Mount St. Mary beat McLeod twice. So they're in. Chickasha, I'm sure they are. Yep. 14-4 and 13-1. Sulphur playing Anadarko. They haven't played yet, but you can go ahead and book that one. Sulphur will be here too. Let's see. Class B regionals. Fort Cobb is in the driver's seat. Mustangs beat Battius 16-0. Sentinel beat Glencoe 16-6. Fort Cobb doubled up Sentinel, 4-2. Then Battius knocked out Glencoe 9-2. So you got Sentinel and Battius today. Winners got to beat Fort Cobb twice. Leedy is in the driver's seat in their Class B regional. Tupelo beat Duke 20-1. Leedy beat Asher 5-4. Then Leedy beat Tupelo 1-0. So somebody's going to have to beat Leedy twice. I didn't see a Duke-Asher final. Winner of that plays Tupelo. Winner of that plays Leedy. Had to beat them twice. Class A, Canute did what the hopeful were hoping for them to do, hosting that regional. 16-6 over Hominy. They beat Hydro Weekly 10-0. That regional is here. Because of the weather, that regional will finish, or at least today, will finish here in Elk City at Ackley Park. It'll be Hominy and Hydro Weekly at noon. Winner plays Canute. Got to beat them twice. So that is a change in the schedule from what the original Canute hosting. That is now going to be here. There was actually district games last night here.
Yeah.
With Hooker and Fairview. They met here. That's one of the Fairview fans. Yeah, nothing like a 2.5-hour trip for a home game.
Well.
But they had a bunch of rain, and there was more coming. So it had been hard for them to get done. Yep. So they came down here and finished last night. Let's see. Hollis.
Welcome, Fairview fans. Thanks for coming.
Fairview and Hooker, thanks for coming. Yeah. Hollis beat Allen 6-4. They lost to Tushka 6-5. So Hollis, I imagine they'll have to beat Allen and then Tushka twice in a Class A regional. And then Navajo beat Arapahoe Butler, lost to Rattan. Arapahoe Butler was lost to Garber as well. So Arapahoe Butler's out. Navajo will play Garber. Winner will have to beat Rattan twice. And then also, I forgot this one, a 4A slow pitch. Hobart beat Colgate, but then lost to Prague and lost to Colgate. So Hobart was eliminated, 1 win shy of a 4A slow pitch state tournament berth. Anybody else? You got anybody else?
I think you got
from
it all
yesterday.
covered. That was a lot, but we got it all covered, and we'll see what.
Oh nope, Moreland beat Allen 6-5. So it'll be Hollis and Moreland.
Hollis and Moreland, yes.
Hollis and Moreland. Winner has to beat Tushka twice.
There we go.
Very good. What do you got going on this weekend?
Tomorrow we'll be hosting a softball festival for 10U and 8U teams. We were going to do it over there at Canute, but much like the high school teams, we got to come this way because of the field conditions. So we'll be doing that over at the Fiveplex, just all one-day festival tomorrow, and it's a way we raise money. It's a fundraiser to help us pay for tournament fees throughout this season, and even going into the fall season. Takes the burden off the parents. So you want to come on out? Got a lot of homemade food and watch some little kids play some softball. Come on out.
Right?
What's up? I hope I'm right. Usually,
No, that's right. I know you're right.
game,
Bryce Young is the first Alabama player to be drafted number 1 overall in the modern draft era.
Yes, that is right. That's a little shocking.
It shocks me.
Yeah. I saw this. There's like 3 teams tied for the first, maybe 4. One of those being OU.
Yeah.
There's USC.
Ohio State feels like they've had some.
Maybe. And we know next year there's going to be a lone first place, so it's going to be USC.
Yeah.
But that is mind-blowing. But, it was so mind-blowing when you heard who was the first Heisman-winning player from Alabama.
Ingram.
That wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, 2009.
You think of that storied history, they'd have about 7,
Did you see the streak that was snapped last night?
No.
With the 15th pick, Will McDonald, the 4th, from Iowa State. Got any idea how long the drought had been for first-rounders from Iowa State?
Oh, a long time. I remember this. We talked about this last year. How long?
50 years.
Yeah.
50.
Wow.
1973 was the last one. 50 years. Yeah, they were leaps and bounds the highest. I remember finding that list now that you say it. There was another one that was like in the 20s. But yeah, 50 years.
Yeah.
And then Green Bay.
And they didn't even have that great of a season, but neither did OU, and they got a guy in the first round. But you'd think during that run with Matt Campbell when they're having
Well, he almost came out
years.
last year. It was
Yeah.
the first time ever that 4 consecutive picks were receivers. First time in the modern draft era. And then there was one more. It was about gosh, I got to hurry and find it. We got to go. It was about Green Bay. It was like the 30. Oh, I can't remember. It can't be 30 because Rodgers was drafted. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, 50 years. The last one was running back George Amundsen, taken by the Oilers 14th in the 1973 draft.
a name we'll never forget.
Oh, here it is. Luke Van Ness. That's what it was. So last night, the Packers, 21st straight draft that they have not selected a running back, wide receiver, or tight end in the first round. That is the longest drought in common draft history. Can you tell me their last first rounder that was a running back, wide receiver, or tight end? Anybody? It was a wide receiver. I'll tell you it was a wide receiver.
Wide receiver?
In 2002.
Who was
From Florida State.
Who was it?
Javon Walker.
Would have never thought of that.
Javon Walker. All right, everybody have a great weekend. I'll have a report about the Bob on Monday.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered